Hello folks, Papa Ron here.
And this here's Bulldog Rod.
And we're
got my name.
And we're out to lunch.
Well, more than one way.
Yeah, but we did a video, a couple, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 videos back, and I think we titled it, oh, I know what it was. The Tax Man Wants Your Profits from Your Bitcoin Cash Profits. Tax Man wants their cut. And we had pretty good response on that video and a lot of questions, so we thought we'd do a follow-up on the Tax Man. And there's been some interesting articles recently about the Tax Man is coming.
He is. We got proof.
And where we're at the end of the year and everybody's going to start thinking about taxes coming into the first of the year, it's time you get your game plan in effect. Don't keep shoving that towards me. I don't want a close-up.
I'm trying to make it equal.
Anyway, to start this, we want to give you a little history maybe of how all this kind of came about and started. And it kind of started with Coinbase. As cryptocurrencies expanded and grown and the value of them, the IRS realized they were leaving a lot of money on the table.
Yes, they are.
So they said, well,
and they can leave it on the table.
Yeah, most people would just be fine with that.
Not that we're advocating not paying our taxes.
No. But the IRS went to Coinbase, one of the largest exchanges for cryptocurrency in the world. And they're here in the United States, they're in San Francisco. And they petitioned to come in and take a look at all their records and what's going on with people and their currency, their virtual currency transactions. Well, Coinbase basically gave them the middle finger and said, hey, can you read between the lines? And
we're keeping ourselves total, well, they're trying to protect their customers.
Sure, I think it's admirable. I mean,
we're supposed to be decentralized, right?
Yeah.
And the government's trying to come in and take their share. Now, I've got a lot of stuff in there, but the problem is I ain't taking any of it out. But they are going to treat it as property. They're not going to treat it as a capital gain like in property until you take that money out.
Right. Yeah, that's the law so far to say that.
Yeah.
So the IRS then came back to Coinbase and said, well, listen, let us just look at the people that have made over $20,000 profit in the years 2013 to 2015. We just want to center on that. And once again, the Coinbase said, take a flying leap, we're not letting you in.
Yeah, they weren't impressed.
So just last week there was an article that came out, and it said that out of those years, 2013 to 15, Coinbase had roughly 500,000 customers, according to the stats.
Yeah. And
only 900 of them filed something on their tax returns that they had either made a loss or made profit on their crypto, their Bitcoin. And so that set up...
that could be because they don't understand the dang law or anything. I mean, it's just so confusing to people.
You mean why they're not filing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one of the articles that we had picked up that said, the biggest problem is people don't understand what the requirements are and how to do it, so they just skip it. They just said, I'm done with it.
We got to show you our waitress.
Oh, no.
See, there's our little waitress there. Isn't that cool?
We're still all right on time?
Yeah.
So anyway, the IRS went to a judge, female judge, and they want to get access into Coinbase.
U.S. magistrate judge out of San Francisco. Probably the same gal that judged against Trump on his immigration thing.
Well, I don't know. We should have looked that up.
Maybe we should have, but I think it was her.
So anyway, she's kind of. They don't have the official ruling yet, but she's kind of on siding with the IRS being able to go in there. And the IRS is also going to use they have an old law that gives them jurisdiction for any American, an old law that they're going to use to go after any American that's overseas or has an overseas account in an exchange or a wallet, and it gives them that. I know. Can you? I mean,
I thought when you was overseas, you was kind of you didn't have to pay taxes.
Well, the point is, Well, I don't know about that.
You know, we
I
ought
don't
to all go to Canada and become a citizen of Canada.
No, their gun laws are out of whack and everything else. It's a mess up there too.
How about Australia?
I don't know. So I live out in the boonies, man. Just leave me alone. But so they feel that sooner or later they're going to be able to go to any of these other exchanges overseas and be able to tap into their records to find out what the Americans are doing. And that's not the problem, but why so many of us are so frustrated is like they have unlimited spending habits in the government. I mean, we just saw the new report on our budget from Trump. Our war budget is like $69 billion for the year. It's like,
why?
Are our tanks no good anymore? I mean, why are we such a warring country? But anyway, this is just one facet. They're out of control in all their spending, and then yet they continually just hound the Americans that are working and trying to get ahead.
More money.
Yeah, they want it all. And so this is the frustration why people are kind of giving them the middle finger and saying, "Yeah, I'm not.
And we
I'm
want to
not
get into
doing
crypto
it."
so we can be anonymity. You know, and what about these exchanges that do have that total anonymity?
Well, folks, and not that it has any bearing to this video, but our next video is going to be on how to become anonymous with wallets and exchanges and what's going on out there in that. Again, it has no reflection on getting out of the IRS.
No.
But that's what it's going to be on. So anyway, here's something else that they came up with. We found this article here at fortune.com. The IRS has special software to find Bitcoin tax cheats. Hence the title of our video, The Tax Man Cometh.
Yeah.
And they claim that one benefit of using Bitcoin is that digital currency can be anonymous. Its owners can move money around the world without revealing who they are. And there are exchanges and wallets that kind of allow you to do that. Even though the blockchain, Bitcoin's blockchain, is somewhat transparent, there are things. But right here in the Daily Beast, it says the IRS is paying a company called Chain Analysis to help identify the owners of digital wallets that users employ to store their Bitcoins in. Chain Analysis. I guess they've got a letter to the IRS. In a letter to the IRS, the co-founder of Chain Analysis says the company has information on 25% of all Bitcoin addresses, and that it deploys millions of tags to keep track and identify transactions. And then, of course, there's a screenshot, but 25%, that's still not very many.
No.
But
I gotta tell you something. You know, they're investigating from 2013 to 2015, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what they want to do Coinbase. Yeah.
That's where they want to start. Once they get their meat hooks into that, they'll just keep on coming up.
Sure.
You know, and that's just normal. But the thing about it is, just last year, Coinbase had 5 million customers.
A year ago.
A year ago in November. This November, they have 12.2 million customers. So, you know,
they've increased 7 million customers.
They increased that much. So my thought is that they got a lot of work to do, man. If the IRS
just to keep current.
Yes, just to keep current. You know. Of course, I know there's something like 120 million people in the U.S. or something like that. I don't know how many. Yeah, but we're also in 42 countries. Bitcoin has 42 countries. People investing in it too. So I don't know how they're going to keep it all straight. I don't know how they're going to keep it all straight between the foreigners and the Americans.
Well, you think about that and look at the problems the IRS has had just keeping the citizens within this country.
Hey, you know, our phone, or my phone, only goes for 5 minutes. Then it has to stop. So that's how come we have a lot of breaks in between. Just to let you know, folks.
He only spent $900 on this stinking thing, and it can't go like 7 or 10 minutes. Anyway.
It's stupid, I know. Drives me nuts. Of course, it could probably go longer and I still not do it.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're talking about that change analysis that the IRS hired to find out who owns wallets and who's on what exchange and so on. This is more of the article out of Fortune something. The decision by the IRS to license the software of change analysis, which is based in Switzerland with an office in New York, appears to be part of the agency's larger campaign to target digital currency users who have failed to pay tax. There are indications, though, the IRS will focus only on the bigger fish. And of course, that's what they're telling. That's what they're telling Coinbase. We just want the bigger ones. But like Rod just pointed out a minute ago, you know, once they get their foot in the door, yeah, it's over. And we're not. I know it sounds like we're trying to say that we're all against this.
No, we're not against taxes. I mean, you have to have it.
Well, sure you do. I mean, you got to have roads and, you know, all that.
Sewage
but
and all that.
It's the abuse of it that drives me nuts.
Well, there's just no accountability of where the money goes. Just absolutely none.
Look at the military budget. They lost like $2.3 billion, and nobody's got an idea anywhere of where that money is.
Since they've been in there, the military is something in the trillions of dollars. I'm telling you, it's a fiasco. And they say, oh, it's all for national security. Yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah, we got to do. I know people don't like to get political. We might do one on this war. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
So,
and I love the military. Don't get me wrong. I served and I was proud of it.
Yeah, no, I know. And there's a
there's no damn accountability in it. We have to be accountable.
But they don't on anything.
Well, why do we have to be accountable? And there's no accountability on their part.
Yeah.
And that's what frustrates people.
I'll tell you why. It's because we haven't been abused enough to finally take a stand and said we've had enough from you SOBs. We're changing, or and so we just let them continually do what they want.
That's true. Yeah.
It's because we're so passive. As long as we get our 2 weeks vacation and our new car in the driveway, we're basically happy. And then we let them rape us on everything else. You know, it's crazy. Anyway, another article we came across, and I don't know where this came from, but the title was "Bitcoin Investors Beware. The IRS is coming after your vast riches." And we're still just kind of building the foundation of what this is all about.
Right.
And part of the article says there are ways to avoid the tax man. This gentleman says, while tracing IP addresses. Did you catch that? While tracing IP addresses will snare the casual user of Bitcoin, those determined to cover their tracks can use scrambling devices and the dark net to evade detection. So some of these wallets have these scrambling devices. We're going to get into that in our next video, how to become totally anonymous in this. So yeah, the newbies that are just flooding into us, like you just pointed out, I mean, you know, it's...
Please, and we're not saying to go do something illegal.
No.
No, we're just giving information out.
Yeah, and honestly, we're going to report our gains.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we're just kind of giving you a brief on the articles. Bitcoin is typically taxed as property and reported annually on Schedule D as capital gain or loss when Bitcoin is cashed in. Bitcoin that is not cashed in is taxed until the gain or loss is realized. We're already out of time?
We got 30 minutes. 30 seconds.
And then it kind of goes on a few things. But exchanges could report gain or losses on 1099B and so on. We're going to talk about a few things now about some of the regulations in the IRS and what you're required to do.
Okay, go.
Oh, you already started up again? Well, you got a lot of pressure on me. Just a lot of pressure. You must convert the Bitcoin value to US dollars as of the date each payment is made. Oh, see, now I missed that part. let's stop.
Go.
Yeah, we'll try to wrap this up. We've already gone on 3 segments, it seems, but we'll have things in the description box. One thing Rod has is the official document from the IRS kind of explaining the procedures in virtual currency. And that basically says that Bitcoins held as capital assets are taxed as property. If you hold Bitcoins as a capital asset, you must treat them as a property for tax purposes.
In other words, capital gains then.
Yeah, so it's dormant until you sell it and turn it into fiat currency.
You see, what the IRS wants is anything that's income. I mean, anything that's above profit, above loss, rather. I mean, you still have to, in property, you still have to, like in stocks and that, you got to do your profit and your loss. You got to compare the two, and they got to balance out.
Well, it's
and
just like a piece of real estate. Your home, it can grow in equity, in value, and you have your property taxes, which are different. But until you sell that property, and then you have gains on it, and that's kind of what it's saying about cryptocurrency. When you finally turn it into fiat or something, then you're responsible for those capital gains. That's what they're saying at this point.
I'm wondering if we still got a year to invest in something else before we tax.
No, that's a good point, because with property you do.
You do.
So I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
But we're going to have some links in the description box that you guys can do some research. So you just get geared up and start. I mean, Rod and I both have ledgers where anytime we buy a crypto, we log it, and if we swap it for another one or sell it, we keep records on all that. It's just common
sense,
good
yeah.
business to do that.
Yeah, good business.
You want to know if you're making money or losing money on this stuff. Bitcoins held, if you hold Bitcoins as a capital asset, I read that, if your Bitcoins are held as a capital asset like stocks or bonds, which Rod was just saying, any gain or loss from the sale or exchange of that asset is taxed as a capital gain or loss. Otherwise, the investor realizes ordinary gain or loss on an exchange. And then it talks about Bitcoin miners and so on. This is coming up. You know, the first of the year's here. And
we got a plan on what we're going to do.
Yeah, and I think, like we said last time, there's so many people that have come into crypto this year.
Yeah,
I mean, this is where the explode, just like you read.
Yeah.
Just Coinbase alone has had 7 million additional users of Coinbase.
And how many came in one day? 100,000?
They had 100,000 sign up in one day at Coinbase.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And they're not even the biggest exchange. I think Kraken is even bigger than Coinbase. And I don't know how big Gemini is.
Or Polynex.
Yeah, so you just want to protect yourself in a way. Sorry about that. In a way that, and they know better. We've told them we're doing a video here. Protect yourself so you're going to legitimately put if it's a loss or profit. I mean, keep records so you know. You don't want to estimate this stuff, I guess.
And you definitely want to pay your taxes. We're just saying it's confusing. To us, it's really confusing the way their law is right now.
Well, yeah, the last article that you had, that you mentioned earlier, Bitcoin tax, can you see that? Bitcoin tax laws are a nightmare. So people ignore them. That's been part of the problem, they're saying. The IRS is trying to crack down on Bitcoin users. Anyway, this is a good article. We'll put this in the...
Probably going to have to find a good cryptocurrency lawyer now.
Well, I'm telling you, if somebody offered that service, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But
so you accountants out there, you may want to get into it and find out.
Well, and I've always said, you know, start a little business up so you can have the sufficient write-offs, just like this little business Rod and I do on YouTube. I mean, every time we eat lunch out together, you know, we write that stuff all off and our mileage.
Because we're doing a video right now about it.
It's a business for us. So anyway, business for us, yeah. All $80 we make every month.
Okay.
Thanks for watching.
Appreciate you. Hey, give us a thumbs up. We love those thumbs up. Just pound it. Beat it. But do that thumbs up. Love you. God bless.